Welcome back to the Last Off Sports Talk podcast. Today's Sunday, April 13th of 2025, and we've got on this episode 78 another positional rankings episode, our seventh one of the season with the Draft Brothers. I'm with Kean Kropp, Carson Kropp. I'm Cody Kropp. So today we're going to be getting into our top 5 consensus cornerback rankings of this here 2025 NFL Draft. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Got lots to talk about. At our number 5 ranked, consensus ranked cornerback of this draft, Darian Porter out of Iowa State. He is 6'3", 195 pounds with 33 and an eighth-inch arms. In 2024, he played 12 games. He had 18 total tackles with 12 solo. He had 2 tackles for loss, 2 passes defended, 3 interceptions, 0 forced fumbles, 0 fumble recoveries. Kean had him 6, I had him 4, and Carson had him 7. So, with that being said, let's dive right into some of his details, I guess you could say. So, first off, I like this guy more before the Combine because he was a Combine star. Underwear Olympics standout.
Love it.
Yeah, as we all do. But this guy he's just a big combo of elite traits. He's got the size, speed, and length of someone that you're going to want in the NFL on your team. He was an ex-wide receiver. He's only got 1 year of cornerback starting. So he's got those wide receiver skills, like ball skills and route skills and things of that nature. He has lots of game experience, even though some was at wide receiver. He's got 5 full seasons of football under his belt. He's got great awareness when he's in zone coverage. He's got very good burst and ball skills, like I talked about. And that's I think he's got enough to further work on his craft and develop his craft into being a good NFL defender. He's very natural and smooth. Very easy change of direction. He's not clunky or anything like that. Is he the fastest? I don't know. We'll talk about that. But he's not clunky through his changes of direction. Good acceleration, and just also as like a little added bonus, because he might be used as this for where he's being drafted, but he's a great talent at like gunner on special teams. He had 4 career blocked punts, which is very impressive.
Yeah, he covered everything very well. The only thing that I'd like to add is I just think if you make your dream corner, this is pretty much it size-wise. He has the perfect size to be an elite cornerback in the NFL.
Yeah, fluidity and speed in his movements, too. I feel like there's quite a few guys. It seems like just like how we have a jack of all trades at every position, I feel like at every position we also have an anomaly in size and speed and just movement ability, because Darian Porter is very good at just moving at 6'3", 195, 33 and an eighth-inch arms. Pete Carroll would have loved this guy for his Legion of Boom back in the day. Long corners. And, yeah, I do love, like, another reason why he rose above some of the other guys in my rankings is because if you don't start him, there are some guys in the NFL that if you don't start them or play them on offense or defense, then you probably aren't using him. But you can use this guy on special teams, and he is very good because, block kicks, he'll block punts, he'll be a punt team gunner as well, and he can really do it all for you, which is what I love. So I'll get into the cons as long as you guys don't have any pro cons or anything. This guy, because he is like a slender frame, he can get blocked and moved in run support. You're not drafting him for run support. You're drafting him because he is that wiry, long, athletic cornerback who can make plays in coverage. He does lack that strength though because of his size, his skinny build. And 2024 was the only season where he played more than 153 snaps on defense, which is kind of concerning. He did have a great season in 2024 as his only year as a starter at Iowa State. So I can't knock him for the great season that he had. He had a 90.1 coverage grade according to PFF in his final season at Iowa State. But yeah, before that, he just never played that many snaps. He never earned a starting job there, which could be kind of concerning.
Yep, I agree. The only thing I'll add, I'm a little concerned because he only has 1 year starting at corner. He has a lot of experience on defense, so I'm not all that concerned about it. It's very minimal for me. For that coverage, he did have a very good coverage grade, but he didn't play a whole lot of man. So I don't know. Most teams probably may not need him at man, but if he's asked to do that, maybe something he needs to work on. But he's got the build for it. He just needs to gain some physicality and play strength if he wants to be dominant in man coverage as well as zone. And just his tackling, I don't know if it's just his build or if he's not great at it yet, but he could probably refine it a little bit, his tackle technique, just to wrap up a little bit better and a little more consistently is all.
Yeah, I agree with all that. Most are playing zone because I think that's where he excels at. 91 coverage grade in zone, 63 in man. And then just to solidify your point that he's a bad tackler, I agree. 18 total tackles this year, and 5 missed tackles. That's bad percentage.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, and his forced incompletion percentage this season was very good. It was 24%, which is up towards the tops of the class. Actually, out of all 5 of these guys that we're going to be talking about today, he was at the top. This season, he had a very good season in terms of percentage of more incompletions that he forced because of him. Yeah,
that's awesome. Okay. Do you have comps for these guys?
I do.
Okay.
Do you guys have any?
I don't have it. I got select few.
Okay, I couldn't really think of anything great. I just think that he's a could-be Tariq Woolen type.
Yes. Yeah, the long athletic. Yes, I see it. His 4.30 is moving for 6'3".
So right now, he's just a high-ceiling project. Doesn't have much experience. He's going to need molded, shaped, sculpted is the word.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
I like it. Moving into our number 4 consensus ranked corner of this class, Maxwell Hairston out of Kentucky. He is 5'11", 183 pounds with 31-inch arms. In 2024, he played 7 games. He had 19 total tackles and 15 solo, 1 tackle for loss, 4 pass defended, 1 interception, 2 forced fumbles, 0 fumble recoveries. Keen and I had him 5. Carson had him 4. So Carson, get us started.
This guy is another guy, just like Darian Porter. Liked him better before the Combine because after Combine, shot up boards and everything. I don't like him because of the Combine. I like him because of his film. He's very fast. He can run with anyone, and I'm very confident that anybody in the NFL, put him on a go route, he'll keep up with you. Maybe even pass you. He passed some of the receivers on the go routes. He's just like looking after the ball and he casually runs past them. He latches on these go routes. He has lots of recovery speed. And like I said, he latches on. He's pretty good at attaching to receiver. He's fairly gluey. And he's actually willing and surprisingly good as a tackler at his small size, 5'11", 183. I was very impressed with how willing he is to get in there and help with the run.
Yeah, I agree with that. He's very athletic, which allows him to play like pretty much any type of coverage you want. Man, zone, it doesn't matter. He's got the athleticism to play anywhere on the field. And I think one thing I like about him, he anticipates and he keeps his eyes like at the quarterback very well. So he watches the ball, he watches the quarterback movement, and is able to read him very well. Lots of these guys will just run and play the receiver, and that's it. They'll have their head turned. They don't have their head turned around to look for the ball. So he'll read the quarterback and look for that ball. Very impressive college production, obviously. I like his footwork a lot. It being so quick and choppy, it's like very controlled. Some guys get crossed up when they're trying to flip and follow guys, but he's very controlled at most times. And obviously his burst you talked about, and he's pretty good at bursting to tackle whenever it's close to him. And you said gluey, and I agree with that too.
Yeah, 4.28 40-yard dash speed with 1.50 10-yard split are both legit. You see that in his film. I agree with you about his recovery speed. I think he does have the best recovery speed in this class.
Agreed.
As far as like if he falls behind, he's probably going to catch back up to you.
Yep.
It's just a matter of can the quarterback get it to the receiver in that time, which is very tough because he can catch back up very fast. I'll move into the cons that we have for him. My first one is just there's some major strength concerns.
Sure.
At 5'11", 183, can he win at the catch point? Sometimes, but that's using his jumping ability, which he did jump 39.5 inches in the vertical jump.
Pretty good.
But he's going to get out-muscled by most receivers, which can be pretty concerning going to the NFL where there are bigger receivers, as we know. Is he going to be strong in press coverage? That's going to be tough in the NFL, but you probably aren't going to use him like that. But there are times where you're kind of forced to be in that position, and now luckily he does have that recovery speed, but he could get shoved off so fast. In that way, he really reminded me of like a Nate Wiggins type from last year. That's probably gonna be your comp.
Sure is.
Yeah. Sorry, stole your thunder.
Sorry.
But that's what I kept seeing. Just fast, skinny. But like he'll hover around you, but you could probably pretty easily shove him off. To me, my final con, he feels like he tops out as a really good CB2 for a team. It doesn't feel like he has the stickiness, strength, grit to shut down the best wide receivers in the NFL. But he could give your wide receiver 2 fits, just being annoying, just being a little mosquito buzzing in his ear the whole time. But yeah, I don't think he could ever be CB1, unfortunately.
I agree with that. The only things I'll add is sometimes we have to see that recovery speed for him because I think he can flip his hips a little early, like flip around a little bit early, but he's got that speed to recover. And this goes along with his smaller size, but I think he could use some work when he's like open field tackling, but that might just be his size trying to wrap up bigger guys or his technique's not all there yet or something like that.
Yeah, he is slender, and actually he's the exact same size as me to the pound.
Hey,
5'11", 183. I'm curious about my arms and hands now because 31-inch arms is probably definitely longer.
Yeah.
And
I
8
do
3/4 hands, I think that's probably pretty similar.
Yeah.
Athleticism is also pretty darn similar.
Yeah, definitely.
And then, but Kian said CB2. I would absolutely love this guy as a CB2 because I fell in love with his film. But when you envision him trying to guard a guy like Puka Nacua, he's just gonna lose because Puka's just so strong through the route, top of the route, catch point, everything. He just can't win that. He's gonna excel against more of a guy like Brandon Ayuk that's just gonna try to beat you with like route running and whatnot. And then his instincts and recognition isn't great. He seems to play more reactive than instinctive, watching the quarterback, waiting to react to what he does rather than trying to break on a route recognition, play recognition. And he can play like this because of his speed. All his mistakes are covered up by speed. Ready for comps?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you guys have any?
I don't know.
No.
Okay, well, you already stole my Nate Wiggins thunder, so. But yeah, Nate Wiggins is the obvious one here.
Yeah.
They're very similar.
Yeah, Nate Wiggins actually was smaller. I swear he was like 167. He was very small. I think 173 rings a bell. So maybe 10 pounds lighter.
He was definitely lighter than 183.
But Nate Wiggins also ran a few tenths of a second faster.
No, Nate Wiggins also ran 4.28.
Oh, did he? Exactly.
Yep,
I swear
4.28 exactly, and 173.
Boom!
Maybe you should put on the glasses.
Smart guy here.
Oh, good.
Smart guy here.
We're calling it from a year ago.
Yeah. He was also 6'1".
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
30.5-inch arms, though. Shorter arms,
Wow.
but taller.
Taller.
Yeah, Nate Wiggins plays outside. I'm kind of scared that Maxwell Harrison. I don't know. It's really
We should
tough.
like Maxwell better than because we like long arm corners.
I do like Maxwell better.
I figured
Much,
you would.
I do too.
Much
I like
more
him a lot
willing as a
better.
tackler.
Yeah.
I think I had Nate Wiggins pretty low last year.
Because Nate Wiggins isn't the best tackler. Maxwell Harrison is better, so I could see him playing in the slot. It's just kind of tough because he's not strong, but he is quick and shifty. It's a tough. I don't know where you're going to put Maxwell Harrison, but you have to get that speed on the field for your defense.
Yeah, he's a bad combination of, like, he's not going to be great anywhere, but he could, like, play inside or outside. And
Yep.
I don't know.
Agreed. Our number 3 consensus ranked corner of 2025 is Jahdae Barron out of Texas. He is 5'11", 194, 29 and 5/8-inch arms. In 2024, he played 16 games. He had 67 total tackles, 46 solo, 3 tackles for loss, 11 passes defended with 5 interceptions, 0 forced fumbles, but had 1 fumble recovery. Kian and Carson had him 2, and I had him 3. So Carson, dive right in.
This guy had a stellar year at Texas this year.
Very.
He was carrying their defense. He was their lockdown corner playmaker. He has great suddenness and stopping ability to stop on the routes and breaking the ball. He's willing around the line of scrimmage. He was used a lot in blitzing and run support. He's good at getting off blocks, making a tackle, swimming around him, doing whatever he has to do to get to the ball to make a play. Lots of strength for his small size, only 194. Plays up way above that weight. And I noticed he has a very intricate coverage style. So he lets the wide receiver come up on him very quick. And then he plays like an offensive lineman almost. Like he shuffles with them, jams them, even if it's like 15 yards down the field, then uses the momentum that the receiver gave them by running into him to turn around and run with them. It's just very strange. I don't know how it's going to work in the NFL because we don't see anybody else do that. And if you get a quick guy that can, juke you or whatever, get around you, or just blow right through you because you're in his way, I don't know what the ref's going to call. I don't know if they're going to call anything. I don't know if... He is strong, though. When he jams you like a lineman, it's very lineman-like. He's set, he's balanced, he is up on his toes, and he, boom, gets you in the chest and then runs with you. It's so strange. Good route recognition. Looks very under control at all times, like I said, even 15 yards down the field jamming a receiver. And he can play any position in the secondary. He was used out wide. He was used in the slot. He was used at safety. Texas really just used him as a defensive weapon. His snaps, 122 in the slot, 678 corner, 142 in the box, 15 deep, 12 on the D-line.
Wow.
For what it's worth.
How about that?
All right. Yeah, did you want to go?
No, go ahead.
Okay. There are parts of Jahdae Barron's game that I really like, and there are parts that really aggravate me. But all in all, he settled as my cornerback too. I'm not a big fan of this cornerback class in general, but there's just something fun about watching Jahdae Barron's tape. He is an aggressive tackler and run support. This guy is happily going to crash down on the ball carrier with speed and energy. And I say this, sometimes I say this as a con for some guys where they're kind of going to be like, it sometimes sucks that some corners are going to be forced into the slot. This guy I want in the slot. Mm-hmm. This guy I want to be a slot corner in the NFL because he's a tackling machine for a corner. And he's got pretty thick size. Like 5'11", 194 is 11 pounds heavier than Maxwell Hairston is at the same height. Now, his arms are also very short. Under 30-inch arms is pretty bad for an NFL player of any position, really. Mm-hmm. And then you're playing corner whenever you have to try to bat down passes, which I'll get into that. That's one of my cons for him. But I think his top-end speed in the open field with great acceleration to get up to it, I think that's very good. 4.39 in the 40-yard dash with a 1.50 10-yard split. I think they both show up on film. But yeah, that's what I have for pros, and I've got quite a few cons for a player that I kind of like highly.
That's how it goes here.
Yeah. I thought this guy was just like your great, just nickelback type corner. Good size, good physicality. I like his instincts, and also I would love him being a slot corner because I think he's got very good coverage when he's underneath. He's very good in that area specifically, in my opinion. Solid enough for footwork, and just like Carson mentioned, he always has like the sense for making a tackle. He swarms to the ball. He's a tackle machine, and I think he's a smart player and lots of great production at Texas. A pro con before we get into cons here. Carson talked about it earlier about how he meets wide receivers or any type of receiver at the top of his route and is very physical. I think a pro con is he can be too physical. Like you talked about possible penalties. I completely agree. But this is a pro con for me because I've heard NFL coaches talk about this or NFL players. Whenever you're looking at NFL guys, you'd rather say whoa than go. You'd rather be all right, you need to back it off a bit than come on, we need you to get in there. Yeah. So that's a pro con for me, but I saw the same thing there. It is very unique. For cons, he just doesn't look very fast downfield to me. He just doesn't look like he's got, we talked about Maxwell Harrison's recovery burst. Yeah. It's similar size. I don't think he's got that same recovery burst as someone like Maxwell Hairston. And just he is a tackle machine, but I think he needs to get a little more consistent in his technique to excel in the NFL at being a tackle monster.
I get that. Go ahead.
To go along with your first pro con about how he's so physical at the top of routes and we don't know how the refs are going to call it. Do you guys remember the game this year? It was Texas versus Georgia. Threw an interception to Jahdae Barron, and I think it was returned the 3-yard line or something. It was originally called defensive pass interference. So then it got called back. Texas fans threw an absolute fit. They were throwing stuff on the field. Yeah. The refs got together, overturned the call to offensive pass interference or no pass interference. And
I remember that.
Yeah, that was Jahdae Barron because he jammed the guy so hard at the top of the route. Yeah. But it's he kind of ran into him. They just ran into each other. So that's perfect representation of I don't know how refs are going to call this. Yeah. I don't know how teams are going to see this. I think it's going to create some controversy because and maybe it might generate a talk by the rules committee about how do we treat something like this if he's just standing there, but he initiates with the hands. But I don't know.
Yeah,
it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
It is gonna be interesting. I want to highlight on his way of coverage again because I saw it basically the same way as you, just through different words, and it is just funny because it is how he plays. Because whenever he's defending go routes, he backpedals really slow, very slow. Wide receiver is just about past him. Then he smacks him, and he uses that momentum to bounce off and spin 180 degrees, and he starts sprinting like a madman.
He works so good too. He's always right with him.
Yeah, I don't know how he does it because he's basically stationary.
Yeah,
and then he just starts sprinting like crazy. And that's a con for me because I'm nobody else does this. Yeah. Most of the time they're already moving backwards, and then they flip their hips and then they go. He has to I don't know. It's one of those.
Pretty smart, actually.
It is pretty smart, but he's like a jack in the box where he can't actually start going until it's weird. But it feels like he's in. He waits until he's in bad position,
Yeah.
And then he goes. Like, he's like, I'm going to do as little as possible until I absolutely have to. And he's the same way in run support.
It's perfect. So if you're backpedaling fast, trying to like build up speed to run with them, then you can't stop as quick to break on the route.
That's true. He can. Yeah, that's true. He can crash forward really fast. He
Yeah.
does have that good crashing forward burst speed in that way. But in run support, I think he's the same way. He waits to make sure that there is a lane for him to go, and he's like, shit, there is an open lane. I could get to him, and then he flies through and usually hits him. And then his throttle is either stuck open or stuck shut. There's no in between. There is no change in his speeds. And my last thing, which leads into my comp, I guess I'll wait on it. If you have any more cons to say, Carson.
Just that he's smaller, you already highlighted that. And I don't know if he has elite top end speed like Maxwell Harrison because he ran fast as a combine, but underwear Olympics, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's different than play speed. And we never saw this because of, once again, his coverage style. He just doesn't run with guys until he has to. I don't know if he has the recovery speed to catch them once they get a step on him. It's just an unknown.
He conserves energy until he absolutely has to use it. Yeah. Well, my comp for him is a spider monkey because it feels like his lack of length hinders him sometimes. And instead of reaching out and swatting the ball down in front of a receiver like normal corners do with longer arms, he has to sometimes like jump on the receiver like a spider monkey. He like breaks up the pass because he's just boom pouncing. He's on top of them. He's also very quick and sprinting all around the field at little bursts because like spider monkeys, they're swinging through the trees and they stop, look around, and they start going again. So I think he's like a spider monkey.
Nice, I like it. My comp for him, a slot corner, Kenny Moore.
Yeah, Kenny Moore.
I think that's pretty accurate.
That's one of the better slot. I feel like he could be one of the better slot corners in the league. I saw some because of his good tackling ability. I saw some Devin Witherspoon in him too, back from a couple years ago. But yeah, I think that Jahdae Barron could become one of the better slot corners in the NFL.
Okay. Let's move into our number 2 consensus ranked corner of this class. We have Travis Hunter at number 2 out of Colorado. He is 6 foot, 188 pounds, 31 and 3/8 inch arms. In 2024, he played 13 games. He had 36 total tackles, 25 solo, 1 tackle for loss, 11 passes defended, 4 interceptions, 1 forced fumble, 0 fumble recoveries. Carson, you had him 3. I had him 2. Kean had him his number 1. So, Kean, what you think?
These people are going to be pissed.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a particular army that was already pissed at me for my Travis Hunter takes on wide receiver, which I'm not changing those. I still don't think that Travis Hunter is going to be very good as a wide receiver. Then I watched his cornerback film, and I'm like, okay, this guy is so clearly a corner. It's not even funny. Stop trying to play him at receiver in the NFL. The corners are going to see right through. He can't route run, but he can run with guys who are running routes. That is what I saw because I loved him as a corner. He's actually my guy for me as a corner. Yes. I think that he is the clear cornerback 1 in this class, and let me explain why. He uses his long, skinny frame to stride out and run with smooth speed. It allows him to hang with wide receivers on go routes. He's 6 foot 188, 31 and 3/8 inch arms is pretty solid size for a corner. He fearlessly crashes down towards the ball while it is in the air and while a ball carrier is running toward him. He wants to make a play on every jump ball, just like in his receiver tape. We saw this. We already know all about his amazing, phenomenal ball skills, and they show up as a corner as well, which is great as a corner who can catch. That'd be cool.
Cool.
And he's also just a willing tackler in open space. He's not the best tackler, but he is always willing. He always wants to get his nose dirty, get into play, whether it be a jump ball or a tackle. He can chop his steps to stick with the wide receiver on each cut and angle of his route. He can go from trailing the wide receiver to jumping in front of the pass in the blink of an eye. And when it matters most, which is at the catch point, he will basically always be in position to battle with the wide receiver and probably win that battle because we know the ball skills. But some of his interceptions came on balls that shouldn't have even been thrown, and he clearly was in better position. But I'm not knocking him for that because he did earn that positioning on those plays. But I thought that you guys obviously didn't see it as I did because you guys were kind of higher on him as a wide receiver, and now you're basically stayed put. You're like, he's about equal as a corner or wide receiver, but I thought it was night and day from the things that I saw. His movement, like if he doesn't have to be creative on his own, I think he's thinking too much as a wide receiver. But I saw that if he can just follow and just wreak havoc, which I think kind of goes along with his personality. He's kind of like a louder person. I think that he fits very well as a corner who would be just very annoying for wide receivers in the NFL.
Yeah.
Now you guys are probably gonna like disagree with everything I say, so
he does have amazing ball skills. You're right.
Yeah.
He's great at reading quarterback's eyes, making a play on the ball, like you said. Strong, fights at the catch point. good route recognition, and my last pro that I'll say is when he is with the receiver, he is glued to them for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you think I disagree, but I saw everything you saw. I mean, everything we saw with him at wide receiver, we see here. Incredibly instinctive, great anticipation. He just always seems like he's thinking a step ahead. He's a very, very smart player. He's another one that obviously gets his head around to look for the ball. He's a receiver also, so that helps. I saw everything you saw. He's got a lot of pros, but we can get into cons here, I guess. I don't have a long list of cons. I just liked our top guy better. So, just a few things. His size is very good, but to me, it's not like as ideal as
The top guy. Oh yeah, it's not even close.
Yeah, so that's why he's at 2. He's very leggy. Like, his legs are incredibly long, so I think that slows down his hips.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
he's very leggy.
If you look at him, he's built with very long legs, which I
Yeah.
think slows down your hips naturally. I mean, you got more
More to
stuff
spin around.
swinging
Yeah.
around down there.
Yeah, probably wears like 26, 36 jeans.
He probably does. And just the simple fact, I was trying to nitpick here to, like, he's great, obviously, but I was trying to nitpick and find stuff to further my opinion of him being at 2 for me. He just being at Colorado, he didn't face a whole lot of NFL caliber receivers yet, and that's not really his fault. Obviously, he did the best that he could. Obviously, he was dominant at Colorado, but he can't help the competition he plays. So that's a little nitpicky, but it is what it is.
All right. Now, it should be noted that I scout these guys harder because they're so highly regarded. Like, if you're going to be in the
Top 3 picks.
the running for the top 3, maybe even number 1, I'm going to scout you a lot harder. So I think he looks like an athlete playing cornerback, not a cornerback playing cornerback.
I agree
That's
with
fair.
that. Yeah,
that's fair.
Because he seems kind of gangly, unbalanced at times, a little out of control. Now, he does usually stick with the corner, but it just looks so sloppy, out of control. He has slow hips, like Cody said, at times because of these long legs, and sometimes I think he even overcommits with the hips because he thinks he sees the route, but he needs to completely switch them like 120 degrees. He's weaker than some of these other corners, lighter weight, and I think he might get dominated against stronger receivers, like, once again, Puka Nacua. But he plays so aggressive and strong, he may be able to overcome this. Like, I see him at times just randomly punching receivers for no reason. Like, 5 yards down the field on a go route, he just leans over and, like, lunges at him and tries to punch him. Like, I don't know if he's trying to push him out of bounds or what. Sometimes he misses, once again, unbalanced, and then they get a step on him on the go route. And leading into, or tagging on what Cody said about facing weaker competition, I tried to focus on film of any receivers I actually knew that he was going against. I watched him go against Torrey Horton twice. I watched him burn him once because he did that thing where he tries to punch him and, like, gets unbalanced. And
yeah.
Torrey Horton got a step on him, and then he got underthrown bad. And then the second time it was just like a crosser route that Travis Hunter was with him, but he just wasn't close enough to, like, contest, make the swat at the ball, and so he just tackled him at like 3 yards down the field, so it wasn't a big deal. But it was just kind of concerning for someone this highly regarded. He's grabby at the top of routes, and I could see a lot of penalties in his future because of how aggressive he is. And he's just not great at tackling. Not that that's a huge deal because you're not drafting him to tackle, but it's just in run support he could miss a tackle. He'll go for it, but he may miss.
Yeah, my final cons that I have for him, he doesn't always wrap up whenever he's crashing downhill to ball carrier. He really loves to just try to spear your legs.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Like, he's a willing tackler, but he's not a strong tackler. Mm-hmm. Like, he'll go down and do it, but it's not the best form, and it's not always going to work. And then just one final question. How is he going to fare against the bigger and stronger wide receivers in the NFL with his skinny frame? Because he is very skinny. I really have a hard time believing that he actually weighs 188.
I do too.
I think he's closer to like 180 or maybe just under.
Yeah.
But, yeah, he does lack strength in that aspect, so that is a big concern because some of the better cornerbacks in the NFL have strength at least. So, but I think that his potential as a corner is very high, and there's no doubt that this guy is one of the best players all around in the draft. I mean,
certainly, yeah, no question.
Yeah, you said you came full circle on him. Mm-hmm. When I was before this episode, after we put our rankings and everything, I almost came full circle, thinking like, man, he should have been a cornerback 1 just because of how high his potential is. But I just like the guys better that already have all the technique and everything because I'm scared of what might happen if he is tried to use on both sides of the ball and he never develops fully as a cornerback.
Yep.
And I just think he lacks too much technique right now, really. My summary for him, elite ball skills and playmaking, but lacks technique. You guys have any comps?
Do not.
My comp for him, which I think is kind of fitting because of the mouth and the playmaking, Trayvon Diggs.
Okay, yeah, because
okay.
ability to catch a ball too, because former wide receiver,
Gangly, long, athletic.
yeah.
Yep.
That makes a lot of sense. I didn't think about that. All right.
Okay.
Okay. Moving into our number 1 consensus ranked corner of 2025, Will Johnson out of Michigan, 6'2", 194 pounds with 30 and an 1/8 inch arms. In 2024, he played 6 games. He only had 14 total tackles, 12 solo, 1 tackle for loss, 3 pass defended, 2 interceptions, 0 forced fumbles, 0 fumble recoveries. Obviously, he got hurt. He only played these 6 games. He had a lot more production in 2023, obviously. But Kean had him 4. Carson and I both had him 1. So I'm going to go ahead and get right into it unless you wanted to have any more details on his, he only played 6 games.
No,
he got hurt.
He was,
That's about it.
Just to say, briefly how good he was in 2023, he was, he was rated 99 overall in the college football 25 game, which, I know that it's a video game, but, still, everybody saw him as the top corner. He was possibly going to go number 1. He was up there with Travis Hunter. He's now since dropped because he had a weaker 2024 season, but his talent is undeniable. We'll get into it.
Yep, dive right into it. He's just got great play speed and play strength. I don't see him get outran very often. He's always right there with them. Very good size, incredibly smooth, quick, and fast. He can start and stop on a dime. I don't know how. It's like he's got the stickiest basketball shoe on a basketball court when he digs his foot in to change direction. He reads and reacts very well and with confidence. You can see that in his game. He's incredibly confident, and he can read both the quarterback and the receiver. He's good at mixing it up and knowing where to read and where to look and who to look at. Very good anticipation. He can flip his hips and sprint very well and stay right with him like I talked about. This guy's not afraid to make a hit either, which I absolutely love. And being in the Big Ten in Michigan, he played big competition, which was one of my things with Travis Hunter just a minute ago. Colorado didn't play the same competition that Michigan did in the Big Ten. He's in conclusion, he's just got a very great football attitude, and he's got the physical traits of a future NFL Pro Bowler, in my opinion.
You can go ahead because I have a bunch of pro cons.
Okay. It's weird how short of arms he has.
Yeah.
He's 6'2", but he only has 30 and an 1/8 inch arms. Almost the same length as Jahdae Barron, which I said anything below 30 inches is pretty bad for an NFL player, and he's 6'2" and he's still almost below 30 inches. But he does still have a solid tackle radius for a cornerback. He's not afraid to dive after ball carriers, dive for pass deflections. I also saw that whenever he's in zone or off man coverage and is in good position, his anticipation to jump a receiver's route is very good, and he crashes down hard.
Yeah.
He uses his size like a bully in these situations to plow through anybody between him and that pass. A lot of times he's going to come down with that. And I do really like him in press coverage. He's got that strong jab right off the get-go. I do have concerns with his acceleration. I think his long speed is fine. His long speed's good, but his acceleration being a bigger corner, I do have concerns, but that's something we'll get into in the cons.
Yeah, the biggest thing for me is very smooth, very fluid, strong all around, pretty quick. First pro con, like Ian said, long, but very short arms for some reason. And then my second pro con, he's very instinctive, and he's very good at reading the play, quarterback and or the route. Sometimes even runs the route for the receiver.
Yeah.
But he may be too instinctive, and I could see him getting torched very badly on double moves because he almost breaks on the route before the receiver even breaks. He just sees it coming. So that leads into cons. I think he actually does lack top-end speed, and I could see him getting beat by some long burners in the NFL, like long speed, like a Jameson Williams, for example. Not that he's going to be covering him, probably if he's used as a CB1, but it just always seems like he's a half step behind, and I don't know how he's going to overcome this in the NFL with either he's going to get faster, he has short arms. I mean, he's tall, but I'm just concerned that he's always going to be a half step behind. And with better NFL quarterbacks and better receivers, I think they can drop the ball in the bucket better.
That's the main reason that I have him ranked down at 4 is his speed. But I kind of put a little like but on it. I was like, but he plays so aggressive that he is often he knows what's going to be coming, so he knows when to dive, when to fully extend, when to kind of get in the passing lane, even if he is a half step behind. Because I think that his change of direction and stop and go ability are kind of slow, which I think what kind of gets him behind. Just after watching him after Travis Hunter is like, oh my gosh, these like the movement abilities are different because they're differently built guys. Mm-hmm. So you can't expect the same thing. Everybody plays the position differently. So, but his just stop and go ability, choppy steps weren't there at the same quickness that Travis Hunter has.
Yeah, their play styles are like opposite. Travis Hunter is like a hound dog following a raccoon, and Will Johnson is like a hunter, like leading his shot on the raccoon and predicting where he's going to go. Like he can just stand in one spot and get to the same place as the dog, but the dog is going to like make it look a lot quicker and everything.
Yeah. Like I know your next move, whereas the dog is like I'm going to follow you like crazy.
Yeah. I'm on you.
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
Yeah, I think the speed concerns for me. I think he's got good long speed. I think where we see him get a step behind, in my opinion, I think it's his recovery speed. I think that's what gets him. Like I said, he's very smooth and quick and fast, and he can turn on a dime, but he doesn't do it the fastest sometimes. I think he can lose a little bit of speed there, and or not maybe lose a bit of speed there, but just recovery speed out of moves. You get it.
Yeah, if he gets caught, if he gets caught standing still, that's not good for him. Which is why I think he has to be so predictive, because he knows that like, oh crap, if I get caught on my heels, I'm done for. They're catching it, so I got to try to guess where you're going to go, and if I get burned, then so be it.
Yeah. The other cons I have to say are like we talked about him playing so aggressive. I think sometimes he can overrun. Like maybe he just predicts slightly like wrong or something like that. He can just literally overrun the route or overrun the guy, and then have to recover, which leads to that slow recovery speed. And
like, oops, that wasn't the route I thought you were gonna run.
Yeah, so that could be bad. And then
I think you ran it wrong.
Yeah, probably. And most of the time, they probably did. Yeah. So as far as his injury history, I'm a little bit concerned about that too. So we'll go through it real quick. He had a knee injury in the early 23 season. Then he had a lower leg injury late 23 season, and then missed the second half of the 24 season with a turf toe injury. So that's the little bit of injury history that this guy has.
Kind of a summary type thing. I would love to see him in zone coverage because of how instinctive he is and how he's always a half step behind. I think he's better sitting in his zone, predicting the play, recognizing the routes and route combinations, and then making a play rather than having to follow someone like a coon dog and Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, get him on a team with a really good defensive line that can wreak some havoc, so he can just run free and see everything. And he'd be dangerous.
You guys have any comps?
Not for him.
No.
My comp is partially because of size, but also because of how aggressive he is and predictive he is and the risks he takes. Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah, I can
like
see
it.
it. Yeah,
I like it a lot.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
Yep. Okay, special shout-outs. Who do we want to talk about?
I got to talk about my cornerback 3, because there is no respect for him on this podcast outside of me. And this is very high for him to be ranked, but Ole Miss cornerback Trey Amos is my number 3 corner in this draft. I feel like, I don't know, at every position we all have our guy that's like jack him up the rankings, especially at edge rusher. Like we all had a different number 2 edge rusher. So this is my guy here that I got to prop up in the cornerback position. I think that he is just a good all-around cornerback.
Is he my guy?
He isn't my guy, yes. He shows strength to hold his own versus the bigger receivers, steady speed, not great speed. I'll go as far as a low ranking of good speed. Steady. Steady speed. 4.43 40-yard dash does make sense, but he's got enough to hang close to the wide receiver and just great hand usage at the catch point. He feels very refined to me whenever I was watching him at the little aspects. It's the little things that make him a good corner. Positioning, where he is at the catch point, where he is to be in position to make a play on the ball. Active hands, timing and anticipation, I feel like he's very good at. Solid tackler, too. He's not going to let you down. He keeps the ball carrier in front of him. He's never going to go back there and spear tackle anybody. But 6'1", 195, 31.25-inch arms, all very good things that make me say, that guy's going to be a solid NFL player. Is he going to be one of the all-time greats? Probably not. But as far as getting a corner who's going to produce for you year in, year out, I feel like the consistency that Trey Amos brings is going to be good for the NFL.
I totally agree with what you saw. I just didn't rank him very high because I think everybody that I put above him has the potential to be great. My summary and comp for Trey Amos was safe option that has a limited ceiling. And then my comp for him was Emeka Ibuka.
Yeah.
Because he has such a high floor. He's such a good football player, and he's good all around, but he doesn't have anything that's like, yeah, he's going to be like my star wide receiver one that makes plays. It's just like, yeah, he's going to be there. He's going to be reliable. He's going to be a good option. He's going to be a good guy to have on this team and in this locker room to provide a nice sense of consistency.
Yes, agreed completely.
One guy I'll shout out because I feel like we need to, and also I want to. I think he's my 7. Siobhan Ravel Jr. out of East Carolina. This guy. He tore his ACL early in the 24 season, so he's still recovering. But before that, he was awesome. He was great. Just another big and long corner with great top end speed. He's a long strider and has good acceleration to close distance pretty quick. He can get through like combination routes very well, and he's got very good vision. And he's another guy that's very willing to tackle. But as far as cons, specifically in man coverage, I saw that he can sometimes play a little bit more upright than I'd like. He's not the quickest out there. Obviously, he's a big and long corner. That's not really his game to be quick. His body control, like getting out of breaks and stops and routes and stuff, I think can be a little like either out of control or just not really, just not in control as much as you'd like to see. And yeah, just that fact that he tore his ACL. ACL tears and coming back from them is fairly common anymore, but we can't put the cart ahead of the horse and be like, yep, this guy's going to come back and be perfect right off the bat.
Yes, in his first year in the NFL.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm a little concerned. But I need to shout him out because he deserves it, and I hope he can get into the league and fully recover and make a name for himself. I think he's got the traits to do that.
Yeah, the quickness concerns are what drug him down for me. He's down there, cornerback 10 for me. It's just something with these bigger corners. At the cornerback position, I want you to have quickness and sharpness to be able to stick with all the nuanced route runners in the NFL. I finally figured out how to use that word.
There you go.
Nuanced meaning you have like little subtle differences in your routes that make you special.
There you go.
Boom.
Perfect.
He can't really stick with those guys, but he does have the length that you want Will Johnson to have.
Yeah.
32 and 5/8 inch arms makes sense on a 6'2", 294-pound corner.
Yep.
I don't know what happened to Will Johnson, but short arms. But anyways, I just think that his fluidity, lack of lateral agility is going to be a struggle for him. But I would love to see him faced up against vertical threat receivers. I think that he'd be very good in that. It's tough to throw over top of this guy because he does have good straight line, long speed. It's just the quicker stuff. I don't know if I can picture him keeping up with that.
Yeah, he was also my cornerback 10 because, frankly, I hate this guy. Lacks suddenness and glue, slow hips. He gets lost in his own feet, lunges and leans too much, off balance, bad timing downfield as well. And my comp for him, I love it because how much he played, what he's like going into the NFL, kind of even what he looks like a little bit. Anthony Richardson.
Oh, God.
Nice.
Oh, God.
Yep. Not very experienced, kind of has the similar look, good size, small school.
Yeah, small school for sure.
Good. Do you have a corner you want to
I actually have 2.
Okay.
You guys put no respect on these guys' name.
Yep.
First one I'll go with, I'm not as in love. Benjamin Morrison out of Notre Dame. I think he's great at keeping his eyes on the quarterback. He's patient, smooth, stays low in his stance, well-balanced, and has great ball skills. Now, I put him up there because I think he's safe. Not as a cornerback 1, but as a very solid cornerback 2. He kind of reminded me a little bit of Mike Sanders still. Like, he's not the greatest athlete, but he just understands the cornerback position, how to put himself in position to make a play on the ball, and I think he'll be reliable as long as you don't ask him to guard somebody elite.
Yeah.
True. Yeah, I agree.
He definitely does need to get stronger, and he's not very fast. So
Yeah.
there's
definitely.
that.
To me, he was like always watching the quarterback more than he was trying to aggravate the wide receiver, which was like, I was like, he's always trying to put himself into a passing lane where he's guessing that passing lane is going to be. And he wasn't always close to the receiver. It was just like, kind of like, wow, that was a really good guess, which we do see from Mike Sanders still sometimes because he is former wide receiver. He knows where that ball is going to be placed and he can get there. Because he had 9 interceptions over his first 2 years at Notre Dame. Benjamin Morrison did. So I can see why you like him because he does have that good ball skills, good guessing of where the ball's going to go.
Now, my second guy, oh man, am I in love with him. I have him as my cornerback 6. Keenan has him all the way down at 13. Yeah. Cody doesn't even have him ranked. Put some respect on Jacob Parrish's name out of Kansas State. This guy has a hot motor, small but hot. Kind of like a two-stroke if we're doing Cody's motor meter here.
Definitely two-stroke.
He's physical. He's a hard hitter, good ball skills and timing at the catch point. He's great around the line of scrimmage, smooth, and he has great suddenness. And I think that he would make a great nickel corner. Now, that's why I couldn't rank him any higher than 6 because I feel like nickel corners are a lot easier to replace in the NFL than an outside receiver. But I just think you can get him like the 4th or 5th round, put him in the nickel, and he's going to always be a hot motor, physical, hard hitter, and I think his coverage ability is pretty darn good too. I saw him lock up Jalen Knoll out of Iowa State, which I was impressed with because he's a guy that had a great season, multiple great seasons, went on for the Senior Bowl, all that. I do understand that he's smaller in size, and he'll probably be limited to the slot. And also sometimes he can get too physical, and I think he might get called for PI. You guys have anything to say about him before I give him my comp? Because I really love my comp for him as well.
Yeah, I think that he's very feisty, and my fear for him is that he kind of coasted on that anger and aggression that he played with to get solid seasons at Kansas State. And I just don't know if he can win like that at his size in the NFL. So I kind of had some concerns because I saw him more as a strictly better at tackling than he is at coverage, and which he will play in the slot in the NFL, so that is a good place for him. But I don't know what his coverage is going to look like in the NFL.
Yeah, I do like this guy. I wanted to like this guy more, I should say, but yeah, just his size kept getting to me. Like, I'm just thinking if he is in the slot, which more than likely he will be, you get these big slot receivers that are just going to come down and wreak havoc on you at the top of the route. Like, I don't know how far his dog mentality is going to carry him, because he does have it for sure, 100%. He's great to watch play, but I'm just scared. I hope I'm wrong, because I do like this guy and I like his play style. But yeah, just that size really kills it. And then like he's not going to be able to really help the best in run support. I think he can work on that. And just he is quick and all that stuff, but when he's changing direction and coverage, I think he can be a little bit slower than I'd like for a guy his size that I expect to be quicker all the time. But yeah, it's mainly his smaller size, I guess, is unfortunately why I don't like him as much.
Who is that edge defender I said plays with more anger than he does talent?
Oh, man. This year?
Yeah. Anyways, that's my first comp for him because he does play with more. Nick Scorton. And I also was in love with Nick Scorton.
Yeah, true.
So that's fitting. He does play with more anger and aggression than he does talent.
Yeah.
And my comp for him is Brian Branch.
Brian Branch, okay.
Yep.
I'm just scared that Brian Branch plays with more power than.
Yeah, a little. I think he's got a little more power.
But hey, I can see it. The anger, the aggression that they both play with, it definitely matches up.
I can see it.
And Brian Branch was drafted 4 rounds earlier, probably. So.
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Okay. That wraps it up. That wraps up our 2025 consensus top 5 cornerbacks in the 2025 NFL Draft. We appreciate you guys watching. Let us know what you guys think. Our rankings are obviously all over the board. Check out our TikTok, our Instagram, all that stuff. We'll have all those things cut up so you guys can watch them.
Next week is the last week before the draft, and we've been so strapped with getting all these strapped. That might be the right way to use this, but we've been so jam-packed trying to get all these rankings videos out because they are important to us. They are important to the viewers, and we love doing them. But next week, we're going to be having a mock draft, and it's going to be a biggie because our dream was to have enough time to kind of go through all of a bunch of different teams and do like full 7-round mock drafts. Well,
Well,
don't really have time for that next week.
Dreams don't come true.
Yeah, so next week we are doing one big 4-round NFL mock draft where we are going to rotate, go me, then Cody, and just keep rotating through all the teams. We're going to talk
All the
draft
teams.
picks, all the teams, baby. We're doing one long episode next week. Probably going to be like 2 hours long.
120.
It's going to be 138 picks.
38.
With
'cause
compensation, yeah.
Dang!
Yeah, so that'll be a lot of fun. I'm really, really looking forward to that. I didn't even told these guys yet, but yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. That's what we're doing next week.
Strap in.
Long episode, a lot of editing for me, but I got next week off of work somehow, so
Nice.
I am super excited for our mock draft next week where we really put our knowledge about all these guys to the test with these team fits and see how we can build these teams. Step into the GM's shoes for a second.
How about it?
So I'm super excited for that.
That'll be
picks.
awesome. And then we got the safeties to talk about next. We got that episode, but yeah, man, look forward to that draft episode. But thank you guys for watching. We appreciate it. Let us know what you guys think. Comments, like, subscribe, all that stuff. Instagram, TikTok, Last Stop Sports Talk, same everywhere. Yeah, appreciate you guys watching. We will catch you on the next one.